Nicholas II became Tsar in 1894. Under the principle of autocracy, Tsar stubbornly refused to surrender any of his power. Russia lagged behind industrial nations of Western Europe. Sergei Witte used higher taxes and foreign investments to help build up Russian industries. Under the Tsars, there were many social problems, including social inequality. The peasants were mistreated and had lack of rights. Fast industrialization made the Russians very angry, and the growth of factories brought new problems such as horrible working conditions, low wages, and child labor. There was a huge gap between the rich and the poor. This widespread anger caused the growth of revolutionary movements. One group of revolutionaries were known as the Russian Marxists, who split into two groups, the Mensheviks and the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks' leader was Vladimir Ulyanov, who later changed his name to Lenin. In March 1917, military defeats and shortages of food, fuel, and housing in Russia sparked the revolt known as the March Revolution. Nearly 200,000 markers covered the streets. At first, the soldiers obeyed orders to shoot the rioters, but later sided with them and refused to fire on them. Instead, two soldiers fired at the commanding officers. Now that Russia is a state of chaos, Nicholas II has no control over his people and gave up his role. However, the March Revolution was successful because of the failure of the provisional government. Lenin and the Bolsheviks wanted control of Russia. They followed the ideas of Karl Marx, who believed that the government should control all factories and businesses. Lenin gained support of many people by making promises of peace, land, and bread. The Bolsheviks promised an end to Russia's involvement in the war, land reforms, and an end to food shortages. The provisional government had lost the support of the people in November 1917. The Bolsheviks led soldiers, sailors, and factory workers in an uprising that overthrew the government. The provisional government had given up without a struggle. The November Revolution was over in a matter of hours. Within days after the revolution, Lenin ordered that all farmland should be distributed among the peasants and gave workers control of the factories and mines. Once in power, the Bolsheviks renamed themselves communists and changed Russia to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, also known as the Soviet Union. Lenin's Red Army battled against forces to the Tsar, called the Whites. Many nationalist groups in the Russian Empire also rose up against the Red Army in an attempt to gain independence. The communists created a secret police force to destroy enemies. They killed anyone who was suspected of opposing the revolution. Communists executed Tsar Nicholas II and his entire family. The Whites had Britain, France, and the U.S. on their side, who sent troops to help them. War and revolution destroyed the Russian economy. Lenin changed his role from a military leader to focusing on fixing the economy and changing the government. The Bolshevik leaders had taken over banks, mines, factories, and railroads, which resulted in an economic disaster. Lenin created the new economic policy, NEP. Under this plan, the government still controlled banks, large industries, and foreign trade, but some privately owned businesses were still allowed. Lenin's NEP helped to recover Russia's economy.